A mother's endeavor. Mom and I lived in an apartment building called Lake Grove Village on the fourth floor. My mom was very happy with her accomplishments as a single parent. She was a business savvy lady and a hard worker. She graduated from Harper High School at 6520 Wood Street in Chicago. At that time, it was a desegregated school. She later attended Dawson Trade School, Kennedy King College, Central Community College, and it was here she learned secretarial work. She had various jobs that focused on clerical and administrative duties. I had the opportunity later in life to work with my mother at Goldblatt's department store when I was 14 years old. It was my first job, and I worked as a stockman or a stock boy. I had to pull loads of products and packages from the loading dock and bring them to the sales floor for a few hours a day. When I had some downtime, I would check in on my mom in her department, and she would be counting thousands of dollars with stacks upon stacks of money sitting on the table. It was amazing to me how she kept her integrity because she never had the idea to take any of it. She was just an honest person and a good worker. She put it in the working hours and would come home, eat, watch movies, or listen to music and dance. She loved to listen to Luther Vandross. Like I said, I have an awesome mom. She really instilled in me a good work ethic and gave me a lasting impression on how to handle business. Mom expressed to me many times that my grandmother was the one who taught her the importance of knowing how to take care of business. This was a serious thing, as it was something that would have an impact on me for the rest of my life. There were some basic principles that was passed on in handling business affairs. My grandmother played no games when it came to business, and it is no doubt that she made sure my mom understood how to follow the same course. I remember my mom started dating guys, and I couldn't stand any of them. I was very territorial and protective about my mom. No guy was good enough for her. But that was foolishness on my part because she is the mom. The choice was hers to make. I recall when one of the guys she was dating would come and take over the TV like he paid bills or something. I clashed with this guy often. He was a loser and a freeloader to me. He was no example or leader. Eventually, things didn't work out with him and my mom, and I was happy. After some time passed, my mom began to date another guy. This guy would boast that he purchased my first big wheel, but I didn't trust him. But it didn't matter because my mom was crazy over this guy. Eventually, I got used to this guy being around, especially since he never put his hands on my mom and tried to do the right thing. It became hard not to like the guy. Then, one day, he really got my attention when he got a construction job working as an operator. He came to the apartment and dumped 50s and 100s on the front room table. It was impressive, and more importantly, he earned it legally. I didn't know any black man that could get it like that. It was something you only seen on TV. This was the day I said to myself, this guy has potential. As I got to know him better, I discovered that he was a former member of a street gang called Dale Vikings. This group started in Anderson Park and extended to Stayaway Gardens. Later in life, he served in the United States Navy for 4 years as an engineer. This man was a street guy, and for the first time, I started to respect this man. But just as Murphy's Law says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Some years passed and I was on the block with the fellas. and the streets told me his secret. I went to my mom thinking I was informing her of something, but she already knew. Then, to make matters worse, he lost his job. It seemed that the great successful black man was done. Then, for being at the wrong place, at the wrong time, with the wrong people, he got caught up in the prison system. He served 2 years for an alleged felony criminal act. I remember seeing the letters he sent to my mom, and then a blessing occurred. He was released due to a lie discovered in the case. He returned home, and we were very happy to have him back. Yeah, I said we. I had embraced that guy, even though I didn't like some things about him, but he made my mother happy. He and my mom later married on February 14, 2002. Death of a father. One day, before my stepfather was released from prison, I walked into the family house on Giles, and my mom was crying. My cousin was there. I asked, "What's wrong?" She looked at me, and after gathering herself, she told me that she had just spoke to my grandfather, Albert Big Benny Robinson, my dad's father. She said she ran into him at the currency exchange in Lake Meadows on 35th Street. She greeted him and asked him about my dad, and he told her, "Sugar, Johnny dead." When I got this news, I burst into tears. All my emotions went nuts. I developed a strong dislike for this man, and now I was crying for him? I didn't understand it. I remember running up the stairs to the middle room, and I let it all out. My cousin ran behind me, and she comforted me, hugging me tight. I simply could not control my emotions. I was distraught because of this surprise. To make matters worse, I got the news about his death after his funeral had already taken place. I didn't even get to attend. This made me furious because things were not supposed to happen this way. But then again, I didn't know how any of this was supposed to happen. I came to understand that I was the bastard child. So I guess this is why I wasn't invited to my own dad's funeral. Then the questions came. What happened? How did this happen? Why did this happen? The report was that my dad was with a woman, and they were on an elevator coming down from some apartment. Something happened on the elevator, and the woman stabbed him multiple times, and he bled to death. She murdered him on the north side of Chicago. The actual motive is uncertain. This was a deep blow as I remembered the feelings I had about him. But this revealed that Grandma did succeed in her endeavor to help me to have the proper feelings toward my dad. I felt sorry for him. Darkness set in, and for this moment of time, I thought I was doomed because of my initial feelings for him. So I did learn to let that hate go and have the proper view of my dad, despite his imperfections. I learned in relation to being his child that both parents are God's representatives, authorized to train, discipline, and direct their children. Parents are entitled to honor and respect. This didn't mean I was obligated to agree with his choices in life, and it certainly didn't mean I had to be blind to or even tolerate evil things he did. It was not my place to judge, because it was God's place to do that. Right is right, and wrong is wrong, and God is the judge. Later, I met all of my dad's sisters, who are beautiful women, and I had the opportunity to hear their side of the story about him. While they had some good things to say about him, they did not deny the bad things about him. My dad was part of the second generation of the known history of the Robinson family. He was born September 10th, 1952, in Mentor City, Mississippi. He and the rest of his siblings picked cotton as young people, and he had been trained to see white people a certain way. Later, Albert moved the family to Chicago in 1966, and my dad attended Wendell Phillips High School. He adjusted to the city life, but still had a certain mentality when it came to dealing with women and being around white people. It had been said that my dad adopted his ways toward women from his father. However, he loved his family and never disrespected the women in the family. Interestingly, all his sisters are Jehovah's Witnesses, and so was his mother, Betty. I came to understand and accept that Dad was a man who made mistakes. His sisters loved him very much. However, I made a solemn promise to myself within my deepest parts and said, by solemn promise, if I ever have a family, I promise to never be like my dad. I will never physically beat or verbally abuse my future wife and children. I will always do my best to be the dad that I never had. Meeting with the widow. After Dad's death, I received a surprise visit from his widow. She came to our family house to see me. She traveled all the way from Duck Hill, Mississippi. I asked my mother to allow her in, and she did so reluctantly. We sat in the living room and started to talk. As we spoke, and as she was sitting across from me, I suddenly had a memory of myself and another boy sitting on a blue old school long body car in front of the family house together as children. It was like a hidden memory that came out of nowhere. I discovered that it was my brother. She and I continued to talk about my siblings. She asked me several questions and I answered all of them. And then it became very awkward. During our discussions, there were moments of silence as she would just stare at me. I wondered what was going through her mind as she observed me. As our discussions came to an end, she made arrangements for me to talk with my siblings. I spoke with my brother and my sisters and kept up with them for as long as I could. I enjoyed our conversations very much, but after some time passed, they stopped communicating with me. I attempted to reach out to them by phone calls and letters, but there was no reply. Their numbers suddenly would be out of service, and I got no return letters from them. Eventually, everything stopped. I decided to stop being naive about the situation and accepted that I was the outside child. They didn't really know me that well. They only knew of me. I blame Dad for this because he didn't make it a point for all his children to know each other. After years of separation, it was obvious what the outcome would be. The reality is that this had a tremendous impact on all of us psychologically, and it is a traumatic roller coaster we still deal with to this day. I had nothing against them, and deep down inside, I will always acknowledge them as my siblings.